Hey guys, Kakarot197 again. This time with a review of the 1/100 scale Master Grade Jegan from the Shark's Counterattack movie.
この番組はご覧のスポンサーの提供でお送りします。
On the outside, things are looking absolutely amazing. The Master Grade manages to perfectly capture the simplicity of the Jegan's design while also adding some extra flair to it. Combine that with great color separation and virtually no visible seam lines, and this thing is simply great to look at. Of course, it wouldn't be a Master Grade without marking stickers. We get a sheet of peel-off stickers with the typical warnings, don't put your head inside of the thruster. We get numbers to customize your Jegan, Londo Bell insignias, Earth Federation insignias. The one I used goes behind the visor for the mono eye, and that's also the only sticker you need to make your Jegan completely color accurate. The one thing missing, however, is rub transfers, which we normally get with every Master Grade, but for some reason they decided not to include it with the Jegan. What the
disappointed!
On the inside, things are equally interesting. We get a full airframe with some nice detailing going on here and there, while also providing great articulation for the Jegan. However, with no movable pistons, no sliding armor panels, and no little extra gimmicks, it feels more like an iron-blooded orphan's frame rather than a fully featured Master Grade frame. But with that being said, it still does its job. On to the accessories, and things are equally as interesting here. Mainly because of the hands, because these are going to limit some of the things you can do with the accessories that the Jegan comes with. Mainly because these are not fully articulated, and these are the exchangeable types. So as you can see, standard, we have a closed fist hand. However, that is not how a normal human being closes his fist. You don't close your fist like this, you close it like this. Anyways, moving on, from the fist we also get open palm hands, just in case you want to push axes away. Moving on to the beam rifle, which comes with its own dedicated trigger finger piece. Unfortunately, we only get a right hand version, so you're gonna have to use this into the right hand unless you want to use these technically junk parts, which can kind of hold on to the beam rifle. Not perfectly, but kinda. Now this also slots into the beam rifle, so the beam rifle is going to be in the hand very, very securely. Now the beam rifle itself is a nicely molded thing. We have only a small seam line on the top, slightly bigger one at the bottom, but as far as beam rifles go, this is a pretty nice thing. Also, we get a clear blue visor, but we do not get an additional sticker to put over there, so it's slightly more visible. Because it's not just because of the camera that it's hard to see, it is rather hard to see in real life as well. And most important of all, it fits into the hand absolutely beautifully. Perfect fit, super secure. That is the one good thing I will say about these hands. However, if you want your open palm hand to support the gun, it's going to look all kinds of awkward because he can't quite wrap his hand around the gun. Another cool feature that is unfortunately wasted because of the hands is the removable E-cap that we get. So you can remove this thing, and yes, we do get holding hands. However, these are specifically designed for the beam saber and will not hold on to the E-cap. Talking about the beam saber, it's really cool to remove this thing because it does have a slight gimmick where it opens up, there Jegan can grab it and activate it. Also, we only get one beam saber handle, but we do, as always, get two beam saber blades. Then where there is a sword, there has to be a shield. It's really nicely molded. We get a solid back, which is not something we always get with shields. This here rotates around, this is on a hinge, and when we turn it back around, we have these really nice missiles. Unfortunately, they are molded together, so you're gonna have to do a little bit of modification if you would want to make it look like only one was shot out. Now, there is a peg here that connects it to either arm. There is one unfortunate thing. Because the peg is rectangular, you can only mount it on the side of the arm. Unless you're gonna do some modifications, you're never gonna have it look really the way it should if you want it on the back of the arm. Then the last weapon that comes with the Jegan are of course these hip-mounted grenades. Once again, there is some lost potential here. All of the grenades are standardly molded together, so you're gonna have to cut them out, and also they will once again not fit into the holding hands. What I would have loved for Bandai to do is give us the best of both worlds. Include the fully posable hands like the 2.0s or the 3.0s, and also give us the fixed pose hands. Because there are things that the fixed pose hands are going to do better, but there are also things that the fully articulated hands are going to do better. And it's not like they haven't done it before, just look at the real grades. But let's end this review on a high note, shall we? And have a look at the articulation. And the one accessory that's absolutely going to give us a lot of support for that is the action-based connector, which is super secure. The head is on a double joint. We get the usual ball joint, but also an extra hinge joint that actually goes so far back that we have to remove the backpack just to see how far it can go. The arms are equally as impressive. The shoulders go forwards really far like that, all the way. Backwards, not quite as much. They go up really nice like that, while also still being able to go forwards as far as they did before. Then the arms themselves go up like that. We'll rotate around below the shoulder. Then the shoulder armor, if you'd want to, can also move up a little bit individually. Then the elbows are on double joints, unlike the high grade. The hands are on ball joints, will wiggle around, turn around, and do everything a ball joint does. And of course these things will come apart as well. Let's get rid of that for now, and have a look at the fully articulated thumb. We've got a ball joint at the bottom, and then one hinge at the knuckle there. Let's turn him around to have a look at that beautiful backpack, but not before pointing out just how nice the insides of those thrusters look. Then the backpack, we have these wing flaps, which are on ball joints, so they will wiggle around, turn around, move in and out really nicely. Also, again, really cool internal detail on those thrusters. The bottom thrusters, however, surprisingly enough, don't really move. They're technically on ball joints, but they don't seem to be functional whatsoever. So, turning him back to the front, we have a technically double joint here, but one of the joints is a hinge joint that allows him to go forwards nicely, backwards a bit, and then the second joint will take care of the sideways movement. And of course, because it is a master grade, we do have an opening cockpit with a small pilot inside. Talking about the pilot inside, you might think that I forgot to mention the usually included standing pilot figure. We do not get that one. Moving along, the legs go, of course, really far backwards and even further backwards because we have an extra joint on a track there. And here is a perfect illustration of what that extra joint at the hip does. And then of course backwards also really far because there is virtually nothing stopping them. And that is a perfect split. Outwards is going to be equally as impressive as our Jegan can also pull off a grande car. These things move up perfectly fine and will also rotate around should you want to. The legs will also rotate around, then bend at the knee at two joints, but unfortunately, as I said before, there's nothing really interesting going on for a master grade. Then the feet are, disappointingly enough, only on a single joint. So they go forwards a bit, backwards nicely on that single joint. We'll then rotate around kind of awkwardly. There's also rotation at the top, but that is, for some reason, pretty hard to do because of the way the joint is set up. And we also get a toe joint that moves up a bit, goes back down, which is nice, but unfortunately, these two parts do not move individually from each other. However, overall, putting the feet aside, including the action-based connector, you're gonna have a blast posing this thing. As always, the inevitable question is, do you want to buy this? Yeah, the Master Grade Jegan is essentially a cookie cutter Master Grade. If you're a fan of the Jegan, it looks great, it's got really good articulation, and it's only 4,000 yen for a pretty damn big mobile suit. However, if you're the kind of person who buys the Master Grade line to be blown away by working pistons, movable armor frames, or really cool gimmicks like movable mono eyes that light up with LEDs, or at least have the ability to be expanded to be able to do so, you're probably best off looking somewhere else. Because what it really boils down to is that the Master Grade Jegan is this kind of weird hybrid between an RE100 and a fully fledged Master Grade, just because it lacks those fine touches that we usually associate with the Master Grade line. And then let's wrap up this review with one final size comparison between the standard size Jimquel and the also standard size but slightly bulky Hazel. And that's all for this review, and I will see you all next time.